Jai Sri Krishna. Let's start discussion on the important topic or on this topic. Most of the interviewer definitely ask you three to four questions minimum, and it is and the very important, and each and every interview will check your behavior and understand how you think on the critical situation. So they definitely ask you behavioral questions. So if you look this entire video, so you are able to give the some questions answers in the interview, while that are good for the business analyst role or the quality analyst role. But I make these videos for specifically a business analyst interview related to the behavior questions. So let's start a discussion on these slides. So let's first of all, I'll give you the introduction why the interviewer will ask you the behavioral questions and why he want to understand your behavior. So what is a behavioral question? So basically that is beyond from your the resume, and the interviewer will know about how you are the good in the soft skill, what are your the past behavior, and how you handle the real world situations while we are working on the product. So what the tasks you need to perform, so that things the interviewer want to understand from you. So that's why he or she ask you the interview the behavioral question in interview. And the importance of the behavioral questions, that how you are ability or how you are skillful for solving the problems, and the communication skills, and how you are good in the teamwork, how you are performing past in the teamwork. And they want to check your overall fit for the role and the company culture which they are going to hire you. So they need to check these things. So that's why they ask you the behavioral questions. And the golden rule for to pass the behavioral questions and to give the appropriate answer, so you should use the past behavior in the present and predict the future performance, how you can help you. So I'll give you the one of the golden tip for to answer these questions. So let's start on that. So whenever you answer the behavior question, you should follow the star method and it is and the golden method to crack the interview. So you should star stand for the situation, S stand for the situation, T stands for the task, A stand for the actions, and R stand for the result. So the most effective framework for structuring your answer and the behavioral questions. So let's discuss these star each one by one. So S is a situation. So you need to set a sense and describe the contents and the background of the situation, why that the situation will happen, and the why the become consist to provide enough detail for the interview to understand the situation of that scenario or that task you are performing, and then to explain them what the tax or the tasks you perform, what are the action you take. So explain your role and responsibilities in that situation, in a specific situation, how was the goal objective are needed or achieve, how you know to achieve that goal, and then what are the actions you describe the specific step you took address to that task. And I use the I statement while you are giving the answer and highlighted your personal contribution in that project and the progress. So what are the situation, what are the tasks you takes, and what are the action you perform, and then finally what the result you get from your that actions, and explains the outcomes of your actions, and quantify the result whenever possible, reduce the processing time of 50%, and increase the user satisfaction of the 10 point. So like that, if suppose there is a situation, if you are not able to complete the testing with your existing process, so what are the situation you are not able to complete the testing, so you need to do to do the some tasks, and what are the actions you do the manual testing, you do the automated testing, you are start to continuously tracking the uh, progress of the testing, immediately help the quality team whenever they face the issue. So these are the actions, and then you can do that. The 50% of testing speed is increasing, the customer satisfaction will increasing, on time delivery will happens. So these are the star method to answer such kind of method. So let's start a discussion on the category wise the questions which might be asked by the interviewer in the question. So first category is a problem solving and analytical skills. Second one is a communication and stakeholder management scheme. Third one is a teamwork and the collaboration. And the fourth one is the conflict and resolution adaptability. So let's discuss on one by one these things, guys. So the problem solving and analytical skills, the objective of interviewer to ask you related this question is to gauge your ability to analyze the complex and the critical problem, and how you think logically in perspective of the solution of such problem. So in that scenarios, interviewer might ask you, tell me about time you had deal with the ills defined problem or the critical problem or the complex problem, and how you provide the solution on that problem. And also he or she might ask you to describe the time you had to work with the team to analyze the difficult business challenges, and give an example of time you asked the data to make a critical business decision. So I'll give you the tips for answer this question is to focus on the thought process, how you should always keep in mind the star situation. What are the A stand for the what are the situation for these questions, what are the tasks you need to perform in this situation, and what are the actions, that means how you prioritize the tasks and what the result you will get. And talk about how you gather the information, identify the root cause analysis, how to do the root cause analysis you will do, and evaluate the alternative before presenting solution to the interviewer. So let's select one of the questions. So let's select the second one. Describe a time you had worked with the team to analyze the difficult business challenges. So let's suppose you are facing some risk analysis problem or the challenges which faced by the your team. So these are the situation. So you are not able, you want to achieve the sales target for the next quarter. So these challenges with the online. So that then you will take a task. So how to do these things? So you need to show that product or to do the advertising, to do the communications, and do the actions to update the report of that, and to available that product, to change check track that entire product. And then finally you will get the result to increase the sale or not, or to continuously advertising. So that way you should give the answer of such problem. So let's move on the next slide. That is the communication and the stakeholder management. So the interviewer will might ask you these questions to understand, to assess your ability to communicate the complex information clearly and manageable relationship with different stakeholder, and how you contact or how you communicate with the stakeholder. So the interviewer might ask you the questions like, tell me about a time you had a person complex technical concepts to the non-technical audience, and describe the difficult stakeholder, how you would manage and how did you handle the situation. So these the question most of the time interviewer might ask you. And give an example of a time you recommend where the challenges by the senior stakeholder. So the tip I'll provide you to answer such question is emphasize the active listening and tolerating you manage to the audience and building the reports, and mention how you manage the expectation and navigate the disagreement and respect effectively stakeholder to work with the stakeholder to do. So let's discuss on how you give the answer. For if the interviewer asks you questions, the tell me about a time you had a present a complex technical concept to the non-technical audience. So for that, I'll to filter the business jargon or the non-technical jargons, and then I'll prepare the PowerPoint presentation. So where that I cover all the technical the requirements to the non-technical requirement. I'll prepare for the the each the detailed presentation or the end user manual. So understand that the roles and responsibilities of that non-technical audience, and why I am preparing this presentation for them, and why I am doing to help them to understand that features or function to product. So on that basis, I'll implement the solution in that the product, so they can understand the non-technical way, and from that result I am able to explain them that features, and they are satisfied with that features and they implement these things. So you can give the answer like them for the interview on such the situations. So let's discuss on the third category, which is the teamwork and collaboration. So the objective of the interviewer would ask you related these questions. So he or she wants to understand how you work within the teams and contribute to collective goal and handle the team dynamics within the time frame. So the interviewer will might ask you the question like, tell me about a time you work on a team member wasn't contributing their shares and how did you handle it. Describe the time you contribute within the team to achieve the major goal, or give an example of time you had worked with the difficult and uncooperative team member. So how you handle such situations. So tips for your answers, the highlighted your role has the collaborate and just deal with talk about how you support others, shares information and focus on team success. So these are the things you need to give answer to the interviewer. So let's move on the next slide. Conflict and resolution adaptability. So let's why the interviewer will ask you such questions. So the objective of interviewer to see how you handle the disagreement and adapt to changing circumstances or the requirement, and how you make the changes in yourself while the different conditions, and how you adopt each situation. So describe, the interviewer might ask you question like describe time you disagree with the colleagues and manager and how did you resolve the conflict, and the tell me about the time the project requirement changes suddenly and how did you adopt, and give an example of a time you made mistake at work and how did you handle. So the tips for to give the answer of such questions is to show that you can handle a stress and expected challenges for the interviewer, and focus on positive outcome and demonstrate your ability to learn from the mistake and find the common ground on it, and to resolve such the questions. So let's discuss on the first question. So describe the time you disagree with the colleagues and manager and how did you resolve the conflict. So whenever we need to discuss with the colleagues and manager, and we need to disagree with each other for the some point. So let's apply the star method, and then provide the solution to the that the interviewer. So when let's the situations as for the situation that we are going to add the new features in the software, and the manager want me to deprioritize my requirement and to start with the new requirement, but the client and the regulator will force me to do such the requirement that is an important, and that's as per the regulator that upcoming date for that requirement. So these are the situations. So what the tasks I need to perform. So then I'll prepare the document which which explain why I consider this requirement and why I want this requirement with attach the screenshot or with attach the reference why I am saying that with attach the compliance team member. So I'll prepare the all these tasks my way, and then I'll take the the action on that. So I'll conduct the meeting with my manager or my colleagues, and I show them. So why I want to show you to take these things and not this thing, why this thing is important, why this thing is urgent, which I'm to complete for the UAT testing or all this, and why this thing is urgent or the important. And the client is also want to this thing will take on the high priority with the client reference, and that result the manager will agree with me to take and deprioritize their requirement and to put their requirements with high priority. And accordingly the development team or my colleagues will start on working on the high priority requirement. So that way I follow the star situation. So let's move on the next slide, that is the conclusion from this video. So and these are the behavioral questions videos. So the key takeaway from that, so while you are answering you should complying the story about your the professional journey, practice using the star method and the variety of scenarios you should consider. So you should always give the answer in the star perspective: situation, task, action, and the result you achieve from that. And then the be authenticated while using a framework is helpful. Answer should be feel natural and the genuine, that will helps. And it should be appropriate answers, and prepare the reflect on your past experience and identifying the few skill stories you can adopt the different questions. And I'll my personal give you the experience. You should go in front of the mirror and start preparing for such kind of the questions and give the answering for such kind of the questions. So that will enhance your communication skills or the interviewer the interview ability. So that's way, that is the end of this seminar. So if you have any open questions or if you want more understanding the interview related to the business analyst, so please do like and comment on my video, and I'll give you the answer of your questions. So that's the end of the the session. So thank you so much guys for attending these things. So thanks.